Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Come on. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Priya, for giving me the opportunity, and glad to be here. And we are going from cultivating biofuel from seeds to millets, going back to old cultivation of millets, and then we are going to the uncultivated. How many of you have come across cultivation for jackfruit? Jackfruit grows by itself. Nobody grows jackfruit. You plant a tree for shades, or it's there. It just grows by itself every year. And 80% of jackfruit in India just falls off from the tree. 2,000 crores worth of jackfruit goes waste every year. And when is it going waste? Peak summer. In peak summer, we also hear another news in India. What is that? Farmer suicide. Extreme drought conditions, the farmers at the lowest income. That is when jackfruit goes waste. So, the former Vice Chancellor of Kannada Agriculture University, he told me it's the shock absorber against farmers' suicide. In fact, Dr. Shamla Reddy was here. I was supposed to work on this for 1 year and go back to my industry, which is, I used to work for Microsoft. When he told me about the social impact of bringing jackfruit into the mainstream for the farmers, I thought I should give it some more time. I'll walk you through what we have done with jackfruit, and also the ethical dilemma which we faced, whether to treat the jackfruit as a food or a medicine. I'll ask one question. How many of you think, from the food industry or from the nutrition sector, how many of you think virgin coconut oil is healthy? Right? Virgin coconut oil is now being used as a more of a, is it a food or a medicine? Medicine, right? How many of you like coconut chutney? Wow. Is coconut chutney a food or a medicine? Food. So at the end of my presentation, if I don't ask this question, you ask me this. Why did I ask about coconut chutney? We'll come back to that, okay? So back to jackfruit. So why Jackfruit 365? It's a seasonal food, right? And we had to make it 365 days. That's why it's Jackfruit 365. So I started off working on jackfruit while I was writing a book. From where I was writing the book, so Penguin asked me to write a book. While writing the book, I could see a jackfruit tree. So it was a distraction from writing the book. And by the time I finished the first chapter, the fruit became 15 kg monster. So I'm seeing it every day. It's going to fall off. Something has to be done about it. But that's how it all started, how I moved from the biggest software to the biggest fruit. Okay. So what is jackfruit? So this is the oldest carbohydrate replacement of Kerala. The unripe jackfruit cooked as a meal, and you have it with the protein curry. It's a rice replacement. During peak summer, rice is not available. So it's like a pallia. It is the mature, unripe jackfruit pods, the flesh around the seed just before it turns ripe. So like tender mango is for pickle, tender jackfruit is used as a vegetable, ripe mango is used as a fruit, ripe jackfruit is used as a fruit, but the raw mango is used as a curry, right? To make curries you use raw mango, which is just a few days before it turns ripe. Like that, the mature unripe jackfruit just a few days before it turns ripe, it is creamy white in color. That is what is cooked like potato, like a mashed potato with turmeric and coconut. It's a very basic recipe. It just takes 10 minutes to steam cook it. It takes 90 minutes and 4 hands to get the fruit out. But once you have it, then it only takes 10 minutes to cook. Yes, that's the green jackfruit meal of Kerala. So while I was trying to bring back jackfruit into mainstream, I started giving it in 5-star hotels in freeze-dried form. A priest came to me in 2014 with an episode. So he was taking insulin for 5 years, And one night he had this jackfruit meal instead of rice as his dinner. And he took his normal dose of insulin and he collapsed. He had a hypoglycemic incident. His sugar level went down too low. And he was, in fact, when he started insulin, the doctor had told him to keep a packet of sugar next to his bedside table. In case in the night, if your sugar level goes down, you should put that in your mouth. So he was somehow able to reach that from the floor and put that in his mouth. And he was on the floor for another 2 hours. Midnight, he got the energy to get up, check the sugar level, it was 50. Okay. And it happened to him twice. Second time, 2 weeks later, he got the jackfruit meal for dinner. He took some ripe jackfruits, reduced his insulin by half. By 2 a.m., he became hypoglycemic again, but not as severe as the first time. So he came and told me this experience, and I got scared. Because I was selling the freeze-dried jackfruit online. There's somebody who was taking insulin and takes this, am I liable? That was my worry. Okay, but that led to a significant amount of research. What exactly causes hypoglycemic incident? Whereas in Kerala, for 50 years, doctors were saying that if you are diabetic, do not touch jackfruit. That was a standard recommendation. If you're diabetic, it is high in sugar or high in carbohydrate. Do not take jackfruit if you're diabetic. And I saw something opposite. So what did I do? I started analyzing the unripe jackfruit as an alternate to rice or roti. Because the priest replaced, the Kerala culture was replacing rice. So what goes out of the plate was rice or roti. What comes into the plate is the unripe jackfruit. When I compared, the carbohydrate was 40% lower. Calorie was 70, almost 40% lower than a cup of rice. Which is what doctors recommend you to do, right? Reduce carbohydrate, reduce calorie, and fiber was 4 times more. That's fundamental nutrition. A patient is supposed to reduce carbohydrate, reduce calorie, and increase fiber. All three are happening with the jackfruit when you replace a cup of rice with a cup of unripe jackfruit. So fundamental nutrition, this is in favor of for a diabetic patient. So at this stage, I then sent the unripe jackfruit to City University for a glycemic study. And we did the glycemic index and glycemic load study and found out the glycemic load was 40% lower than rice. The glycemic load of rice is 30, glycemic load of unripe jackfruit was 17, which means in 2 hours the amount of sugar level which goes up is 40% less than rice. So the priest took a cup of rice worth of insulin, but his sugar level only went up by 60%. So the insulin became too much. That's why the sugar level went too low. Okay? He should have reduced his insulin because his carbohydrate intake, glycemic load intake was lower than the rice meal, which we didn't know. Okay, so at this stage, I had to make a decision. And my book got published. First copy went to Dr. Kalam. At the end of the book, I am writing that I am now working on jackfruit. So he got curious, somebody leaving IT and working on jackfruit. So he called me. I had a meeting with him in Delhi. And he was asking me, what are you doing with jackfruit? So I walked him through the 5-star journey, how I gave it to chefs. And then I told him, right now I'm looking at, is it good for diabetes? And I showed him the glycemic data, nutritional data, and he went through it for 3 minutes. He was silent for 3 minutes. And I told him, I'm not getting much help from the doctors. They dismiss me. They're saying this is impossible. I mean, you can't be coming up with anything new about jackfruit, which we don't know. And Dr. Kalam said, James, you're wasting your time. The M in MBBS, actually in medical college, the M in MBBS is medicine. This is not medicine. This is pure science. A high fiber meal translates to low absorption of sugar. Your body doesn't get enough time to absorb sugar. Even if the carbohydrate is low, with this amount of fiber, your body won't get enough time to absorb sugar. So it's a given. It's pure science. You don't need to do any study on this. There's only one thing new here. It's possible to eat an unripe fruit as a meal. Most fruits, when they're not ripe, the acidity is very high. Apple or mango. You can only take very little quantity. But jackfruit, the acidity is low, so you're able to take a a plate full of jackfruit as a meal. Okay? So that is why you're able to. But only Kerala knows that it's possible to eat this unripe jackfruit as a rice replacement. Rest of India doesn't eat it that way.
We do.
We do. Okay. So only whole of North India takes it as a vegetable, and here we take it as a fruit, as also as a vegetable, but as a rice replacement, as a palia, as a main meal, which is what we do in Kerala. Okay, but you can't change eating habits. Changing eating habits is worse than changing religion. You must find a way to give this to people without changing their food. And you go figure it out. So that is when I had to make this decision. Without changing their eating habits, how can I get the benefits of jackfruit into? And there's a diabetes express running in this country. It's not just in Kerala. Okay, so we need to find a way to give this to whole of India. So the choice was: do I take the goodness out of? Do I force people to eat the Kerala way, which is the jackfruit meal, or do we take the benefits of jackfruit out into a pill and give it to everyone? So you don't alter with what you're eating. So make a medicine out of it, or find a way to get this into the food. And to me, the biggest dilemma was Kerala. I want to help people, to encourage people to get back to what they used to eat as a rice replacement. And it's available in their backyard. They don't even have to buy it. It's just available in the backyard. So that was one requirement for me. If I can convince them, then a lot of jackfruit in Kerala can be utilized by the people in their own house itself. Okay. At the same time, how do we address beyond season as well as rest of India? So this is what I went through at the time. Okay. First of all, if it's a food, there is no toxicity. It's a time-tested food, and there is no negative reaction. People have been having this. This is the oldest carbohydrate replacement of Kerala. So there is no question about, is there any harm in eating this as a food? Second, affordability and faster availability. Affordability means, as a food, to get to market is it's less expensive. To convert that into a nutraceutical or a drug, the amount of testing which you have to go through before the first person can consume is a lot of money. Okay, which means the price will go up. If I can give it as food, it's more affordable and fast availability. The time it takes to bring a drug to market versus a food to market, it's much faster. Okay? Fast evidence generation and discovery. So which means when you give it as a food, you're not giving it as a medicine for one specific condition. A food is what you eat every day. Okay, so you will be able to discover more benefits than just one disease condition. Okay, and what happened in our case was we discovered a significant other benefit, because people were taking it for the purpose of diabetes, but then we started seeing other benefits. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Next one was, in fact, we were talking about guar gum earlier. There's a soluble fiber in jackfruit which is helping with IBS. And then a significant breakthrough was on chemotherapy. When patients undergoing chemotherapy are taking the jackfruit, the WBC count doesn't drop, which is leukopenia, is the number one side effect of chemotoxicity when patients undergo chemo. So that clinical trial has been completed, and I won't be discussing about that. Then third is combined efficacy versus individual molecules. Even if I isolate different molecules from jackfruit, there is no guarantee that they're going to work in isolation. In its natural combination, the benefit which you get, you may not get. You may get, you may not get. So it was too risky a proposition for me to isolate them. It's too expensive, and you may end up with no result. So retaining it as the natural combination was done. Next is 150 gram. It's possible to eat 1 cup of jackfruit, which is 150 gram. Okay. Most of these nutraceuticals, like for example, the curcumin tablet, you need 250 kg of curcumin, turmeric to get bioavailability of, whereas in jackfruit you can eat 150 gram. Okay, so it is possible to eat. Now, last one is ethical trials. As a food, to me, this is the biggest ethical decision was, you don't need to test on an animal. You don't need to kill animals. You can go straight to human beings. You can bypass the entire process, go straight to human beings. So, till date, I mean, today is the first day I have seen an animal trial with my product. Till date, this is the 5th year, we have not done any animal testing. We have gone straight to human beings, all the studies which we have done till date. Okay, so those are the ethical reasons. So finally, what we decided, chose not to go with the medicine route, but instead we made a food with pharma grade efficacy. We made a flour from the green jackfruit, a flour which can be added to idli and roti without changing the taste, texture, or method of preparation. The person who is eating won't have a clue. This is what Dr. Kalam asked me. Find a way to get this to what people normally eat without changing their eating habits. Okay? So that was took 2 patents for us to get this. But the flour, what we did with the flour was, we managed to get a significant amount of pectin, soluble fiber, in that flour. So it's 40% low in calorie, 40% low in carbohydrate, compared to an equal serving of rice or wheat, with protein from natural jackfruit protein from the seeds, and then a significant amount of soluble fiber, which became this hero ingredient. Okay. So a practical and affordable way to achieve medical nutrition therapy and increased vegetable and fruit consumption without changing what you eat. When you add this to your idli batter, when you add this to your fulka roti, the third roti is a vegetable. Because you've replaced 1/3 of the flour. Or in the batter, you add 1 tablespoon, you get an extra dosa. So when you take 3 dosa, the third dosa is a vegetable. So you've reduced your rice and wheat consumption, and you've increased your vegetable consumption, or a grain to green twist in your plate, without changing anything in your plate. You still eat your 3 idli, still eat your 3 roti. Okay, that's what we have achieved. Okay, so pictorial representation of what happens when you add jackfruit flour in your idli batter or your roti. Okay, and what happens at the nutrition level? You have got an 800% increase in fiber. You have got a 22% drop in available carbohydrate and 18% drop in calorie with the same amount of idli and roti which you eat. Okay, and this is the trial at an Ayurveda hospital. When patients come in with 30 grams of Jackfruit365, they include in their diet per day, like the idli and roti, and you can see the fasting blood sugar level dropping day by day. And in between you have the spike when they withdraw metformin. So the effect of metformin is only 15, whereas the drop of the jackfruit, 30 grams of jackfruit is bringing it down by 50. Okay, this is 1 week, and this is a continuous glucose monitoring trial, which is a randomized control trial which we are doing in a government medical college. On the left hand side, the person took 1 week of regular idli and roti. Right hand side, they had idli and roti with 30 grams of jackfruit flour, 15 grams each. And the average blood glucose level drop is from 130 to 104. Everything else remains same. Only intervention is they've added jackfruit flour into their idli and roti. Okay, and here's the person who was taking for 1 full year. Okay, and his HbA1c was 7.7. It dropped to 5.8. Fasting glucose from 202 to 112. Cholesterol 222 to 169. Triglycerides from 610 to 209. Okay, this is complete metabolic correction. You're replacing what is causing you harm, which is rice and wheat, and increasing your vegetable consumption. Okay, so coming back to the ethics. So I ran this campaign in Kerala along with this research, and I ran a campaign, 1 meal jackfruit, countless benefits. So during the season 2018, Kerala government finally declared jackfruit as a state fruit of Kerala. So the culture of eating jackfruit has come back to Kerala, and then that year we ran a campaign, 1 meal jackfruit, countless benefits. April, May, June is jackfruit season. This is Kerala Government Medical Services Corporation's anti-diabetic medicine sales record. In April, May and June we saw a 25% drop in diabetes medicine demand, because people went back to consuming jackfruit as a meal, one meal a day. Okay, this is what I published in International Journal of Diabetes. Now, what is India's problem? We have the lowest consumption of vegetable and fruit in the world. We are the largest producer of vegetable, but we have the lowest consumption of vegetable. Okay, that's our gap. And a tree of jackfruit gives you a ton of food per year. Can we get this into every plate than wasting the jackfruit? Okay. So one way is to convert that the entire jackfruit in India into a flour and fortify wheat flour and rice flour. Every wheat flour and rice flour which India consumes, in, if we can find a way to add even a 5% of wheat flour to jackfruit flour, we will reverse diabetes across India. Not just diabetes, all non-communicable diseases. We will bridge the gap of lack of vegetable consumption in our plate. This is the campaign which we are after. Okay? Does that make sense? Now coming back to the coconut chutney versus virgin coconut oil. So I was invited to a medical conference of 130 doctors to challenge why jackfruit is good for diabetes. So I walked them through but the topic before mine was how ethical it is to recommend virgin coconut oil, which is 500 rupees per liter, versus vegetable oil. So it's too expensive for common man. I took the doctor to a restaurant and I ordered dosa, and so it came dosa, sambar and chutney. And I told the waiter, it's like, I don't like sambar. Can you give me one extra coconut chutney? So he took it away and gave me the coconut chutney. So I have 2 cups of coconut chutney. The doctor had 1 cup of sambar and 1 cup of coconut chutney. At the end of finishing that dosa, I explained to him how virgin coconut oil is made. Fresh coconut minus fiber gives you coconut milk. Correct? You remove fiber, what is left is coconut milk. And coconut milk, if you remove water without applying heat, you get virgin coconut oil. So if you add water to virgin coconut oil, you get coconut milk. Is it okay? If virgin coconut oil is good, adding water, is there any harm? There's nothing wrong with water, right? And how about fiber? Is it good? So if you add fiber to coconut milk, you get fresh coconut. So how much coconut does it take to get 1 spoon of virgin coconut oil? Half a size of coconut, half of a coconut gives you 2.5 spoons of virgin coconut oil. How much coconut do you need to make 1 cup of chutney? Half or even less than half. Half of half. So 1 cup of coconut chutney has more than 1 tablespoon of virgin coconut oil. And your body is able to absorb it. You don't need virgin coconut. So the ethics of marketing virgin coconut oil to a coconut chutney loving group is what we should be debating about. So focus on food. That's the most ethical way. Don't get dragged down into nutraceutical or medicine. If you can achieve that through affordable food, fast available, and bring back the custom of eating good food. You find a way to get into regular food. You don't need to take medicines. You don't need it. There is another. So my next research is on significant medical benefits of medicine from jackfruit. But for the common man who likes to eat jackfruit, who likes to eat idli and roti, this is the most efficient way. In fact, having said this, I would say this month I've submitted abstract to ADA, American Diabetes Association's annual conference 2020. We have completed a randomized controlled trial. We're getting pharma grade efficacy with just 30 grams of jackfruit flour. That's the trial which we completed. Another one on American Association of Cancer Research. We have submitted a paper on leukopenia prevention with Jackfruit365. So it has significant medicinal benefits, but I promote this as a food. To me, that is the most ethical way. Thank you.